What drives you? What inspires you? Let's ignite your why. Welcome back to Ignite Your Why podcast. I'm your host, Austin T. Gullett, and we're here to have genuine conversations with authentic people to help amplify their voice and figure out what ignites their why. Today, we have the distinct honor to catch up with the one and only Lindsay Tatman. We first heard her episode 1.10, Music Heals, It Saved My Life, back in April of 2021. Fast forward 2 years later, and here we are. We're back. Lindsay, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm thinking about the last time you asked me that, and I literally had the same response.
I was literally about to say this episode is starting the same exact way as the first one, where you're just like, I'm nervous.
I am. I'm like, I don't know. It's like you get like that giddy like smiley. It's like when someone's like tells you like not to smile or like don't laugh, and you're like you just like can't help it. You're like, you're like in the library and you just like can't help yourself.
Oh,
Anyway,
Silent Library. Did you watch that show?
I loved that show.
That's kind of what that reminds me of, where it's just like
that's literally how I feel. No, I'm good. Lots been going on. Honestly, it's been.
I can tell from your social media you are a traveler.
I am.
I'm surprised traveling. You're home.
I am too. Honestly, I'm happy we put this on the calendar because like if we hadn't, it wouldn't have happened. Like because I literally since April have been out of town every other week. Like I was gone for a week in Michigan, then I was home, then I was gone for a week in Vegas, then I was home, then I was in Florida for 2 weeks, and and now I'm literally leaving for Greece for 2 weeks with my family on Sunday, and it's just like it never
living
ends.
Living your best life though. I'm jealous.
I am. People are like, oh, like how are you affording to do all this? And listen, it's not like this glamorous thing. I promise you. Like like it is. Like I'm having amazing experiences, but I'm not just like yeah. We're just making it happen. We're making it happen the way we got to make it happen.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing
we
sketchy,
vibe
but
in.
we vibe in. We vibe in. So yeah, that's. Go
So,
ahead though. What's up? What's up?
No, like you tell us what's up. It's been 2 years since we've heard from you. So what's been going on, girl? What's been going on over the last 2 years?
Oh dear God. Well, let's just get into it. Well, so last time we talked on the episode, I was releasing Ethereal, and I think, still working at Apple. Was I working at Apple still?
We were. We just didn't talk about it because we weren't allowed.
We weren't?
No, because it's like one of those weird things where it's like you're
like what, like don't associate with us if you're like going to be a person
weird.
outside of work. Okay. Oh yeah, that's so strange. That's so weird. So, well, I quit the Apple Store. I finished my EP. I did a shoot for it. Like it was all supposed to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, and I don't know at that point too if I had shared that I had a really cool opportunity. I got flown to Chicago to write and record a song and like with this guy, and it was a really cool experience, and basically things were starting to like happen for me, like things were coming to fruition, and but I showed him my music, I showed him my EP, and he was kind of like, hey, this stuff's like kind of like too sad, so like I don't know if we can like ride with this. And I was like, oh, so but like again at that point, like no one had really told me how to write. Like I expressed like music for me has essentially been like a journal, right? Like I'm like, oh, I have this emotion, or like this happened, like, and so I'm very like, I'm just like, oh, like I fell off a cliff and I'm so sad. Like I wasn't like necessarily writing like really like thought out or like really witty things. And so I think like he saw a lot of potential in me, obviously, and there was some back and forth about like, hey, like, well, this is our next step. And then he kind of just like dropped off. And at that point, I had like paused all my releases because he was kind of like, let's like get you in the right direction this way and like start doing like other stuff, because I think you like have this this like image, and we'd love to like really push you out as this like positive, happy ray of sunshine situation. And I was like, yeah, like great, like whatever. And then I stopped hearing from him. So then that stopped. And I was kind of just like left with this, like, what am I doing? Like,
Right.
what's happening? Am I going to release this? Like, I don't know. And I just ended up being like, you know what? I guess I'm not going to release it. Maybe I'll release it later. And like, so that was 2021. That was nuts. I don't really know what happened. At that point, I kind of, summer was crazy. I don't really know what I was up to. I kind of started working for this woman. Her name is Kim. And she has a house in Indian Hill that she was turning into a museum. So I kind of started working with her part time. I quit Apple. I was kind of like, music was just kind of, I didn't really know what was happening. Um, I worked with her for like a year or so, about a year, a little over a year. And at the time, I was still dating Max and, doing music. And also I moved. So my mom bought a 2-bedroom or a 2-family house in St. Bernard. So I live in St. Bernard right now. And I moved here. And that was in December of 2021. And I've been here for like almost, in December, it would be like 2 years. I've
Hmm.
been here for like what, a year and a half or something. So that was all happening. And well, then Max and I broke up. And obviously, well, people that are listening to this don't obviously know that, but now you do. Um, yeah, that was really interesting actually, and probably be something I kind of like touch on that I want to like talk about because, you know, very transparently, I have so much respect for him, so much care, like so much love still, like, as a person, he's great. Things didn't work out because we were just wanting different things.
Hmm.
And but I truly like was like, wow. Like it kind of came as a shock to me. It was kind of like, okay, this is like for the best, but it was like kind of a shocking thing. And at the time, I think a lot of us put so much pressure on ourselves and our relationships and people in our lives. And we're like, we can't survive without them, right? Like, we can't like move on. We can't go forward. We can't like literally you just feel like you want to die. You're like, oh my God. Like, I had never had my heart broken. And I was like, oh my God, he literally just obliterated me, like, murdered my soul. Like, I'm like so laughing if he's listening to this. Um, but I don't even care, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I think that the universe literally needed to kick me in the face. I'm like, not that I've already been kicked in the face like a million times, but it was like, hey, like, take 9 for the team. And I'm like, oh, yippee ki like, let's ride. And he just like broke me, like, and having a broken heart, I was like, I've never experienced this. Like, and I had this weird like inkling in the back of my mind, like at some
Hmm.
point during our relationship of like, what if he like breaks my heart? Like, what if he dumps me and I am like, oh my God, I invested all this time in you and all this energy. And like, I really thought like we were like do or die situation, right? And then it happened and I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do now? And so it was really devastating, truly. Like for a week, I was like so unwell. I was like, hadn't cried that hard in like years. I was like, this is just like comes like such a shock to your system. It's like your best
Hmm.
friend, and then you like lose your best friend, and you're like, okay,
It's like you're
strange.
mourning a death that didn't happen.
And you're like, I kind of like, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm like, honestly, sometimes like it would be easier if they weren't around because it's like now they're still walking around. You have to like know what they're up to, like whole thing. He was like, we should be friends, and I was like, Um, I don't know about all of that because I'm not the kind of person that like is able to stay friends with exes. I'm just not. Like I'm like, listen, cutting it, we're moving on. So I'm saying all this and bringing all this up because it was that's been something that's been really big that happened in the last like, 9 months of my life, and that was in August. And then I went to Paris, and that was a beautiful time. And I came back and I was like, you know what? There was this part of me, I was like, oh, like maybe like we could fix it. Maybe, and I'm like, no, like the universe just did me a favor. It was literally like, we're like setting you the fuck free. Like, go like live your
Hmm.
dream. Like, and again, not that we didn't have an awesome relationship. We, I'm sure we like if we could probably still be friends. I don't necessarily need to do that for myself. I'm fine without that. And but like yeah, like it's just like a testament to be like, here I am. And honestly, the next part of the story is I at that point I was like, I'm swearing off dating. I'm literally not dating anyone for like 10 years. Like, it's nothing against him or anybody. Like, I'm just going to do me and like really focus on myself and get back into spirituality and like get back into like focusing on myself and like making myself priority and like
Hmm.
work on my inner child stuff and like do the healing and like all this stuff, right? And then of course meet this guy and like we're just friends. Like I literally he messaged me and we're just friends. And I really don't want like all my episodes to be like, oh, my boyfriend's like, but it's like I'm just trying to like say like that like it for me in that moment when like we broke up, it was like so detrimental to my soul. I was like, oh my God, like my life is ending. Like I don't even possibly know how I could go on, right? And then literally fast forward like 2 months later, I end up meeting this guy. I end up, just hanging out. He's a musician. And we just had a lot in common. Like so like and we both had expressed like we're not in a place to date people, like even if the right person came along, that's not what we're both about because we're both about like working on ourselves. And so long story short, we continued to like literally be friends. Like I think we high fived like one time in like the 2 month span of us like being friends. Like I'm not even kidding. We never hugged. Like it was so wholesome. But literally we wrote a song. We're like, hey, like it was like so awkward. I was like, oh my God, we are so funny. Like this is hysterical. And yeah, and now we're dating and we've been dating for I don't know, 7 months and we're probably moving to Florida together in the fall. So that's a big update that
that's that's intense.
that's happening. Yeah, it's a lot. And
Moving to a whole
like
new state. I just
it's
think
a
it all comes together because I feel like everyone's in our right everyone is in our life for a reason. And I feel sometimes it's just for a season, but they all play a purpose, right? Everything has a purpose behind it and the lessons behind it sometimes come on a little later than what we expect. Sometimes we're just in that moment and we're like, why the fuck is this happening to me? I don't understand. But then later on in life, you're just like, oh shit, it makes sense now. But I kind of want to touch back on something that you talked about because when we talked in your first episode, like we really talked about your EP and the excitement behind it because this was your dream. Like your dream was to create music. And I think it's funny how like you were saying the person you were talking to wanted you to have this positive like happiness kind of thing and it's kind of like diminishing like you like it's diminishing your story and I'm glad like you're not in that anymore because you do have a
yeah.
story and it is important and yeah you make sad music but that doesn't mean anything because I listen to sad music all the fucking time and it's
Right.
relatable but that's your story and I think that's the beauty of like music, right? You could release this EP that's hella sad, but then your next EP could be about the growth and that happiness part of you. And it's all about storytelling. And I just, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm glad that you kind of got out of that because that's not who you are. Like, yeah, you have this bubbly personality and you radiate a lot of like positivity, but that doesn't diminish any of your problems that you've gone through or anything of that nature. So I just had to say that because
Oh yeah.
it really bothered me. Like they said that to you. Like I wasn't even there.
I know, like honestly same. And I actually I would love to show you guys at some point in this, maybe if I'm able to find it somewhere I could share a song I've been working on. Um Because yeah, I feel like I was going through a really hard time. Obviously, like I have a lot of feelings and emotions. What's been really cool about, again, not to be like, oh, my relationship this, my relationship that, but I do feel like finally, for the first time in my life, I'm finally in a spot that I need to be in. I'm surrounded with the people I need to be with. I'm surrounded with the friends. Like I'm surrounded with the mentors and the successes I need to be like and honestly, I owe so much of that to Moranis, my boyfriend, and meeting him. Like I remember talking, I don't remember if you guys my friend Erica, she helped me with the EP. Like she has done a lot of my photos. She's really amazing and like she's helped me a lot along the way as well. And I remember saying to her one time, like last summer, I was like, dude, like, I haven't really been writing. Like, I just feel like really stuck because I feel like I have these concepts, but like I don't know how to like execute them or like make them cool. Like, I don't know how to make them like top 100 type vibes, right? Like, how do
Mhm.
I achieve that, like, and also stay real and genuine and authentic to myself? Because yeah, I have a fucking story. So don't you fucking dare come at me and tell me I can't fucking write sad music because bitch, like everyone out here like is writing sad music and I'm like it's just a bop. Like Olivia O'Brien, like MGK, I'm like Juice World. I'm like I'm allowed to write sad shit, but it's how you do it. And I didn't know that until I met
Mhm.
him. And I was telling her, I was like, dude, I just feel like I need like a mentor. Like I feel like I need like a group. I need like like a society, a community of people that like can like teach me. And like I kind of would like Google like how to write better songs, and it was like fucking do this, and I was like, I don't know if that's like that's not it, you know. And so when I met him, and it's crazy. Like the first day that we met, he's like, yeah, so I'm like in this group. And I was like, oh, like tell me more. And he's like, oh, well, it's a music mentorship group. And I actually just got into music kind of recently myself and blah, blah, blah. And basically we do things with like sync licensing and like placements for TV and film and like commercials. And I was like, what? Like, this is dope. Like, tell me everything. Like, this is the, like, these are the people I need to hang out with. Like, this is the group I need to join. Like,
Exactly.
thank God, like, thank God Max fucking dumped me. Like, I don't fucking care at this point. I'm so happy that, like, I'm where I'm at now, like, because I would literally not be a better artist. I wouldn't be a better musician.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have learned all these things I've learned. Like, there's so many intricacies and, like, there's, like, so many levels to it of even, like, the subconscious level of, like, a beat and, like the tones used in a song and like the frequencies like the songs are like giving off, like there's so many things that I didn't know. I always knew like I could go deeper, but I was like, where am I going to find this group? Like where am I going to find these people that like are spiritual, that kind of get it, that like are trying to like change the world, but they're not trying to be like too like, you know, like, what's up, you know, like a whole thing. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, we lost her, guys. I don't know. This has never happened before. Oh, snap. Okay. This is interessante for sure. I don't know what just happened.
did it die on you too?
Yeah, you just like left, and I was just like, "Oh, we lost her, guys."
I'm so sorry. I was just like talking and it just like went, it just like closed out the app. I was like, I didn't even. Anyway, hello everybody, I'm back. Here I am. That was so weird. Sorry.
No,
I
like
literally my
it's
phone do
been a
not
little.
disturb.
It's like weird because like sometimes like you've been cutting like in and out, but like I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was just like the quality. But
Dang it. Sorry. Where was I? These people, the group.
yeah,
I just really feel so blessed. Like it's so cool that I'm finally like I have met some of my now like through him and through this group that I've joined, some of my like new like best friends, like truly like I've been in Vegas with one of them, like working with her on a new song for like a week. Like I finally feel like I'm with people that not only get me, but they get music and they want to make great music. And they're here to like help build me and I'm like there to build them and like I'm able to be a better freaking musician. Like I'm a better lyricist, I'm a better vocalist. Like I'm you know, I'm just better and I'm like so that's like cuz like for that long period of time I know like no one's really heard from me. Like I don't even really post on Instagram. Like I'm not really I go through these phases of like I'm so overwhelmed with like the
mm-hmm.
world and I cannot like I have to take a step back because I'm like if I literally have to see one more fucking post about how to handle my mental health, I'm going to like I'm gonna end someone. Like I cannot, you know what I mean? I'm like I have to get off Instagram. Like I can't post. I can't even be present. So
I I
I
wish I had that like ability because I feel like I have to be on social media. Not not like in a sense, but like for my podcast, I feel like I have to be on there to like continuously promote it and things of that nature. I think that just comes with being a content creator.
yeah.
So I give you props because like you don't post on social
I
media.
don't, guys. Like I literally was with my friend last night, and she was. I was like, "Look at this photo of me in Paris. Isn't it like so cute?" She's like, "It's stunning. Why haven't you posted it?" I'm like, "Oh, just like so overwhelmed. I honestly just can't even post. Like, because honestly, I know that I need to be on there consistently as well, like for music. But like I've had this like hiatus of like, okay, I don't know like who I am as an artist right now. Like everything I did with Ethereal, like like it was good, but like I knew it could be better. And
Mm-hmm.
so like I just wanted to be like a different version of like not a different version of myself, just like a better artist that like was like more talented and like that knew more, that like I was like working with
Mm-hmm.
more, like mentally, just like with my tool belt, you know? So I feel like I've developed that now, not anywhere near finished or perfect. And like honestly, it there's like things I learn every day about music that I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about that. You know, like, okay, but now I have been working on some songs. I have like probably 3 or 4 songs that, you know, the one song, I hope I can try to figure out how to show you guys because it's amazing. It's so cool. And it's like really just like empowering. It's kind of like, you know, like you can't like step on my toes, you know, like I'm tired of being held down. I'm tired of like
Mm-hmm.
people like being in my life being like, oh, well, like, you know, like, oh, you want to try to do this, but you can't. And I'm like, no, I'm like sick of that bullshit. Like, I'm done. But I've also
I'm a
just been like,
fucking do it.
I'm
That's
like
how it is.
literally doing
Like, I'm
it.
gonna
Like,
do it.
goodbye. But there's just been so much going on. So honestly, like I've been traveling so much. I'm like new relationship. Like he and I are very intentional about our relationship. We have very like similar goals for like what do we want our lives to do. Like we've been playing gigs. Like we like go out together and do music. Like we write together. We have a
I've
show
been seeing that
actually.
on Instagram a little bit.
Like we've been out and about. We've been like we had a little residency at Oakley Kitchen for a minute. They're actually going on tour while I am in Greece, but then when I come home, they'll be in Cincinnati and they'll be doing like the last leg of the tour in Cincinnati. So if anyone is available, July 15th, if this gets released before then, which
Your episode comes out Thursday, but I
oh my
can't go to
gosh,
that.
wait, this Thursday?
Yes,
Shut up. Oh my God, that's okay. Well, everyone,
yes,
mark your
but like
calendars, July 15th. Why can't you
I
go?
can't go. But I'm in my best friend's wedding, and he gets married that
Oh,
night.
that's just
So
that needs to happen. That is a
yeah,
totally excusable. Everyone
yeah.
else listening to this, no, you have to come. No, I'm kidding. I'm not forcing you. But yeah, so like just, you know, going back to music, it's like for a long time I felt really lost because I did Ethereal and I was like, yes. And then this guy was like, no. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, shoot.
But you also have
So
to
then,
remember, like, he's one person, right? He might have that opinion, but that's the thing about your music is like, I still, I'm going to say it again because I said it the last episode, I still bop out to your stuff in the car. Like, I literally do. Like, there's times when, like, it just, like, shuffles through my music and, like, hate me or listen, like, they'll just come on. And I'm just like, they're relatable to me because I understand it. And that's the thing is I had this conversation with Devon on the last episode is like, we're not going to be able to please every person, right? But
yeah,
if you touch one person, then you did your job. And that's the thing about music. And I think sometimes that's just art in general. Like we're our biggest critics. And sometimes it's easy, it's you're gonna get a ton of no's before you get that one yes. Right.
yeah,
And it's just, yeah, he might not agree with this, but someone else might. And I think that's
that's
the
true.
kind of mindset we have to be in is just we're going to be told no, right? I was told no so many times before I got the job that I'm in today.
Yeah,
And it's kind of just how do you react to those no's, right? Yeah, it's a no for you, but it might be a yes for Johnny over here in the corner. And that's
right.
the mindset you kind of have, especially in the industry you're working in, because you're going to be told no a lot of times. It's
Yeah,
just how do I internalize that and how do I not take it personally? That's what it comes down to. So
yeah.
I think you should get multiple opinions when you do things of that nature.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I agree with you. And again, totally agree. And I do think that that happened for a reason because I don't think I was really ready. And I still am
Hmm.
not like, oh my God, like if I blew up on TikTok tomorrow, I don't know that I'd be ready tomorrow either. Like, I don't know if you're ever technically ready, but it's like from all this development I've been like doing and like these like coaching calls and mentor calls, like there's so much as an artist. Like you've got to be ready. Like if you fucking make a hit song, you better be able to fucking make one tomorrow. Like you like gotta like be trained on this. Like at this point, it's like, you know, I'm happy
It's
that
what the people
happened.
want. It's what the
It's
people
what the
want.
people want. I'm like, I got first of all, I'm like, it doesn't matter what people want, kind of yes and no. Like it matters what I want. And like the right people are gonna come and like find music. And I think like I said that last time. I was like, I don't really give a fuck if you don't like my music. Like and so that's kind of what was like hard for me because I was like this guy who was like a huge level executive, like had all these connections. And so I was kinda like, oh shit, like maybe this is I in, you know? And then I was like but he wanted me to be a version of myself that I wasn't ever gonna be for him. Like I was like, I'm gonna still be genuine, authentic, and like real about who I am, and like I'm
Hmm.
gonna fucking cuss people out, and I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. Like I'm gonna be myself, and like if you're fucking offended, bye. Like sorry, like if you don't like my music, bye. So I was kind of like, okay. I like took a second, got like unwrapped up from like the excitement of like, oh yeah, like well, I guess I could like just be what he needs me to be, and then I'll be big. And it's like, no, like go be who you want to be, and
You
then your
know,
time will come.
I just thought of something.
But
You know what this kind of reminds me of?
what?
The Cheetah Girls.
Literally.
Like how
No, you're
they
right.
met Jackal Johnson and he wanted them to be something that they weren't. Like that, I literally just watched the Cheetah Girls the other day, so it just
I
kind
love
of
that. I love that.
is
No,
the
that's like such a
scenario
great
that came to my
parallel.
mind when you're speaking.
No, 100%. Like that. And I think that's, if anyone gets anything from this episode today, is that, first of all, my biggest thing is like the biggest breakdown of my, like, I would say honestly, it was one of the biggest breakdowns in my life. Like the sexual assault wasn't great. Not a lot of people know about that, And I mean, obviously, if you listen to the episode, like, that's great. But like, your biggest breakdowns are like your biggest breakthroughs because like I was like I could never like what if we break up, like my life will end, oh my god, like nothing will ever come around for me. And then I literally like me like love of my life and who's like amazing and has put me in these amazing positions and like introduced me to some amazing people, and I'm finally in a spot where I'm like, oh my god, like now we're gonna go to Florida and we have more amazing opportunities. And it's like all these things, like, so it's like if you're having a really hard time and you just like cannot see the sky for tomorrow, like just give it another day. Like give it another day, give it another week, like get some support and just know that like obviously your mindset has a lot to do with how your life shapes out, right? And sometimes it's really hard to get out of those places where you're really depressed and you really like I'm not having a good time. But like let go of like that thing that like you think you could never live without, or like let go of the things that you think you could never do, because it's like you can do them. And honestly, you probably can do it like a million times better than you even thought you could, or like you could probably survive without this said person or whatever. Like just take the leap and like really like do what's best for you. And honestly, I had a feeling for a long time that like I was supposed to break up with him, and I just like kept ignoring it, and I kept being like, no, like he's my person, right? Like, but no, like the universe was like, bye, bitch, like we're knocking you on your ass, like he dumped you, and I'm like, love that for me, but I like needed that kick in the face because it was like, look, 2 months later, here we are, like, and now here we are 9 months later, and I'm going to Florida, and I'm going to Greece, and I'm like doing all these crazy things, and I'm making all this amazing music, and I'm going on tour with my friends, like this is crazy. Like, you told me this a year ago. I've been like, there's what? Who? Oh, wait. I also didn't mention, like, the funniest part. The guy that I'm dating, he grew up across the street from me. Like, we had no idea.
What?
He literally was like my neighbor, like across the street, like literally across the street. So crazy. Also, we went to preschool together. Also, when I went over to his place for the first time to do music, my mom has bought a couple properties. And
Hmm.
so I used to live in Norwood and I lived on the street called Williams. So he sends me his address and he lives on Williams. I'm like, well, that's weird, first of all. My mom also bought a house on Williams, after I had moved into this place or something. And I drive up to his place and he literally lives next to my mom, next to the building my mom owns. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. What's happening? This is crazy. So that was just like a funny side story because I was like, okay, if this isn't like doesn't isn't like a sign, like I don't know what is. This is odd. Um, but yeah, so if anyone takes anything away from this today, it's like, there is always something on the other side, like of even like the darkest fucking day. And also, like, just fucking continue to be yourself. Like, that's just like a lesson that it keeps getting like drilled into my head. It's like, not everyone's gonna like you. And honestly, the people that are trying to change you, they're not doing it like for your benefit. They're trying to like put you into a box that like you
Hmm.
don't need to be in. And
Preach,
also
girl,
like,
preach.
you know, and I just being in this new space and around these new people, there's a lot of things that I am able to accept more about myself that I never, and truly I just don't really feel necessarily comfortable sharing. But just things about myself that I like never thought I'd be able to experience or like ever be able to have or ever be able to do or not do. And like I now feel like I'm in a space where I'm like really starting to like accept myself and like look myself in the mirror and being like, okay, like it's okay to feel like this and it's okay to think these things or it's okay to experience that and like to not, judge yourself around that.
Hmm.
And but it's really fucking hard because you're like, I was brought up in this place of that wasn't okay and this wasn't okay. And now I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I get to make my own decisions for my own life and what's best for me, right? And it's like, that's what you have to do. Like, don't let the shackles of your family or the society be like what keeps you from like being who you truly want to be and doing what you really want to do. Because that's just like, you're gonna fucking wake up and you're 55 years old and you're working this fucking awful corporate job and you're gonna like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I mean, if that's your dream, like live your dream. Like if you love like working at Fidelity and that's like what makes you happy, then that's awesome. For me, that's like not it because I am so ADD and like such a creative person. And I even feel like a lot of people that do have 9 to 5s, which again, there's so many amazing things about 9 to 5s. Stability. I don't fucking have stability right now. I'm fucking psychotic. I'm everywhere, over here, over there, like going like, I'm like, listen, I have no stability. Like, and that I'm still working on balance. Like, and that's been my other big thing is that like I can't even give really necessarily advice about having balance because I don't think I've achieved it yet. Um, I'm looking for it and literally traveling all the time doesn't really create a space for you to have balance because you're like psychotic and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna like get on like a regimen to like go to yoga or like work out or like have the certain like eating habits or blah blah blah. So I don't know. That I'm still trying to figure out, but I think once I lock that in, I'll be doing a lot better. But I'm just saying, so stability, corporate jobs. Like I love that. I have friends who are in corporate jobs. They're like, oh my god, love my life. Like love my stability. Like love my 9 to 5. Like I know what my life looking like, and I'm like, I don't even know what tomorrow looks like to be honest with you. So I'm so happy that you know what's happening for your week because I have no idea. And that's what I was telling you earlier. I was like, really glad I got this on the calendar because I have to like have it planned or like it's not happening because something else is gonna pop up and then they're like, oh, I have to go to Mexico tomorrow. Like I don't know.
No, I think it's crazy because you're talking about your life and all the chaos, and I'm just like, my life is not that way whatsoever. I,
Really?
my schedule's basically the same now. So like I work Monday through Friday. I have soccer Monday through Thursday. So my schedule is pretty consistent. But like I do
Yeah,
have
that's
like my
nice.
free time, so I like that aspect of it. But when I think of what you're doing, I'm like, no way. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But there's no way like I could not. I'm a planner, and that's my thing. I plan like no other. I have to have everything kind of like blocked out, and it's just the way of my life. I do want to get to a point where like this is my full-time job, doing a
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
but eventually I want it to be more than a podcast. I don't think I've talked about this on here before, but I want to get to a point where I do public speaking and I go to high schools and I
Yes.
talk to high school students and just really talk to them about figuring out who they are as a person, doing what they want to do, and finding their purpose and igniting their why, right? I think that's the biggest portion because in high school, you're at that point where people are telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, but you want to do this, and people are telling you you can't do it. And it's really, like you said, doing what makes you happy, right? I feel
Yeah,
like society and people put these expectations on what you need to do with your life that when it comes to a point where you have to make the decisions, it's just like, oh shit, what do I do? Right? Because we're so used to people telling us what to do. So when it
yeah.
comes time to be an adult and make those decisions, you're just in a
You're
in
like
a stage where you're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
100%.
It's just wild
100%.
because I think back to where we were in 2021 and how we both were working at Apple. And I remember having conversations about leaving. And we were just scared because it was like that stability part where it's like, what's next? And I think that's the scary part is sometimes you have to take those leaps of faith and truly put your trust in God and just hope everything works out for the way it is. And it worked out for you. Like you're flourishing in whatever you're doing and you can see the happiness in you. And I think that's the most important part, right? You're doing something that makes you happy. And you touched on mental health, which is my favorite segment of this podcast. So I'm going to ask you, how have you been taking care of Lindsay?
Ooh. Well, you know, I don't think I really have been doing a very good job of that, to be quite honest with you. After Max and I ended the relationship, I did do a lot of like inner child healing, and I would spend a lot of time meditating and really showing up for myself and making myself priority in the morning. Um, and then life just kind of started getting crazy. Like we started traveling, got a new relationship. We both really try to hold each other accountable because those are both things. Like he likes to meditate, we do breath work, like all that stuff. Like it's very important that we're both on top of our shit. And obviously, and we're like, we slip and fall, and that's okay. And get back up, and another day is another day, and move on forward. And but I'll be the first to admit that I haven't been being my best version of myself as of late, because I know that there are things I need to work on. I do feel like, I still listen to podcasts, and right now I kind of do a little bit of like cleaning and organization for people's houses, and I still do photography and all that too. So when I have those moments and those times, I will listen to podcasts and really be like, okay, like, love this. Like I'm in flow. Like that's what we're doing. Like don't be anxious. Like all this stuff. Like so what I would like to incorporate into my, my routine and my daily morning, like yesterday was the first day, and oh my God, I don't even know, like months that I woke up, did breath work, woke up alone. My boyfriend's in Nashville. Woke up alone, and I got up and did breath work, did the meditation, went and had a cup of tea, like journaled, fucking made myself breakfast. I was like, wait, I'm living. Like this is like what Lindsay needs. Like this is what I need.
Yeah.
Like I fucking like live for this shit, bro. Like I live for like going to the gym and being like, no, like I'm here for 2 hours. Like I haven't been to the gym in like freaking months. Like not a good look, but it's like, hey, you know what? We all have these times. And so mentally, it's been really tough. Also, um, my family's kind of been going through a hard time a little bit. My parents are getting divorced, and that was just announced to everybody a couple of days ago, when my brother was in town. So I feel like I've been having to honestly take care, like I've had to protect my family in a lot of ways for a lot of years around
Hmm.
things. And it's been like really heavy and stuff. And so I think that in a way I just can kind of like continue to spiral and like am like this rabbit, and I just do the things, and I don't really ground or center myself, because when I finally sit down, it's like, God, there's so much pain. There's so many things that I have to
Yeah.
deal with, And it's like kind of what I talked about in the
I
last
totally
episode.
feel you.
Like, it's like I
Yeah.
talked about like being alone, and like I love being alone, but it's like when I get in these like spells of like I'm constantly with people, people are here, people are always calling me, like I'm always like,
Hmm.
like everything's going on. When I do have a day to myself, I'm kind of like, oh God, I'm a little uncomfortable.
What the
Like I
fuck?
forgot what it was like. I'm like,
Yeah.
like I
Hmm.
don't want to like deal with any of it. Like I'm terrified. Like, oh my God, I have to like look at myself in the mirror and be like, are you being the highest version of yourself? And I'm like, no, that's like not cute. Like no one wants that. Like I don't want to be that for my partner. I don't want to be that for myself. I don't want to be that for my family, my friends. Like, and we all need to like pour into our own cup. And I know that I harped on this literally 2 years ago. And I think that this is going to be a thing that all of us deal with always. It's always going to be, how are you checking in on yourself? How are you doing your own shit? Like, how are you
Hmm.
doing? And it's like, to answer your question, I've been in a lot better of a place than I was, I think, mentally, even like 2 years ago. I was like still kind of coming off of like being like really sad and depressed. And I fucking, listen, I had to get out of Apple real quick. I was about to combust. I was like, I cannot take another day of this. I miss what it used to be. I couldn't wear a mask anymore. I felt like it was weird, because I felt like wearing the mask for me, I know it was like a health and safety thing, but I felt like it dimmed my light. I felt like it killed who I was. It killed me. Like so I was like, if I have to fucking come here to work and not be the best version of myself because I literally can't speak to you because I'm like coughing on my fucking own
Yeah.
air, like I can't do this. Like I have to leave. And so I literally fucking up in one day, just like left. I was like, peace. I gave like a 2 week notice, and I was like, I'm done.
Peace.
I didn't even have like a plan. I was like, fuck this shit. Like I'm gonna figure it the fuck out. Like I have no idea. But I'm so much better off like not being there again. All the love to Apple, all the love to every. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have met you if I didn't work there. Like I have so
I
many
miss the
friends.
people. I
I
think
miss the people.
that's the biggest thing. I don't necessarily miss the job because it was super stressful. But it
So
was
draining
super knowledgeable. Like I do appreciate everything I learned from there, but I
for
definitely
sure.
do miss the people. The people is what made it worthwhile while you're there, like going and seeing your friends and things of that nature. But I think the
Yeah,
one thing I learned from leaving there is who is actually my friend,
yeah,
because once you like stop working there, it's like you lose contact with majority of the people, but it's the ones who continue to reach out and kind of talk to you here and there that shows like if it's a real friendship or not. So shout out to my Apple peeps, y'all know who you are. So
right. The homies. I know. It's funny because last week was literally, honestly, it's funny that you asked how I'm doing mentally
I know
because
you
I've
went
been
into
like
Apple
pretty
last week.
good. Yeah, I did. I went to Apple because did Devon say he saw me or something?
Devon told me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
he
I
said
didn't
I
get a
just
chance
saw
to say hi to
Lindsay.
him. Um, but I fucking had to go. My fucking phone had like a blank black display, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so irritated!" Like, so I went and I had an
And
appointment.
the what's crazy to me is like when I go in there and I get like a new person that doesn't know
And
me. And I'm just like, I know this process. I know how this works. Like, come on. Like you don't have to do like the three steps or whatever you have to do. Like, I
yeah,
know.
you're like, don't probe, like, don't confide, like, don't do the Apple steps. I'm good. Just fucking get me to the
Right.
Genius
And what's
Bar.
crazy to me
I
though,
just go up to the managers and
what's
I'm like,
what's
"Hi."
always what's always funny to me is like if I'm talking to someone new and like a manager or someone comes up and they give me a hug and they're like, "Oh, he used to work here," and then they change their whole demeanor
Or they
because
like
it's like,
walk
"Oh,
away
they
because they're
know."
feeling so awkward. They're like, and I'm like, "Oh,
Oops.
sorry, like, bye." Literally, that was me. Like last week, someone's like, "Hi, like, welcome. Like, how can I help you today?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I used to do what you're doing. Stop talking to me." Like, not like a mean, but I was just like,
You don't have
no,
to put
bro,
on
it's
this
not.
facade
I'm
for
like,
me,
I'm
bro.
like, it's
No.
not even like that, bro. Like, it was hysterical. And I was there for literally 3 hours, though. I was like, oh my God, guys, I've got to get out of here. But it
Dang.
was hysterical. I was like,
I went there.
listen,
I went there for my phone, right? Now I got to talk about it cuz I like cracked the back of my phone, right?
yeah,
And I check it in and supposedly there was like a little tiny crack on like the front corner. Like I didn't even notice it, right? Neither did my
yeah,
technician. So I go home, like I leave my phone, right? Because they said it's going to take like an hour and a half or 2 or 3 hours, whatever it was. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to just chill at the mall. So I drove all the way home and I'm chilling. I don't have a phone. So I'm just like, what do I do with my life? Just for them to be like, oh, we're replacing the whole thing. So I wasted 3 hours. I was like, I get these customers. I understand how they feel, bro. I was so irritated.
dude, this is hysterical. You're literally saying this because I'm not joking. That's what fucking happened to me. I had a blank black display. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna go put a new display on. Sorry, Lynn, it's gonna take like 3.5 hours. And I was like, guys, I'm not in the mood. I don't have a phone. I have to go home. Like, I'm not, same thing that you said. I'm not hanging out at the mall. I literally fucking come back. And they're like, so we actually had to give you a brand new phone. And I was like, okay,
You could have
thank
just
you.
did that when I was
But,
here.
I mean, they didn't know because it was the logic board, like it wasn't working on the inside. But I was like, guys, I'm literally so frustrated. And again, like first world problems, I know that like there are deeper
But
questions,
what's
other things
crazy
to
though
try.
is one of my friends did the repair and I was like, all you had to do was text me. They're like, you didn't have your phone. I was like, I have my Apple Watch and my computer. I would have gotten a text message.
I'm telling
But
you
it
what,
is what it is.
it is what it is. And we both have new phones now. I mean, they're old, but like new, like, but yeah, no, I mean, I miss those days and I miss everyone there a lot. Cause yeah, it's like you're so close to these people, like you're in the break room, things, and you're chatting and you're Genius Bar and you're just bugging around, you're like on the iPads, and then like I like went in there and I was like, and everyone just kind of like they just don't really care about you anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's not that they don't care about you. Like the people that like care and that your friends like come up and talk to you, but like not that they don't care. That's the wrong way to put it. It's just like they like life still goes on. Like they still have customers. Like they still
Mm-hmm.
have to work. And it's like nothing like just the world doesn't stop because Lindsay Tatman walked into the Apple store
Lindsay
today at
walked in the room.
2:05. Right. I was like, and Lindsay walked in the room. Everyone turned. Like it wasn't, I mean, it was kind of that, like not like that, but like, you know, people that like Jeff and Vince and those people, like,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, wow, like I'm so emo, bro. Like I didn't even like get to really talk to Bernard or like Gabe or like any of my like, you know, I got to talk to Brooklyn, which was awesome, but like Caleb wasn't there. Like got to talk to Mo a little bit, but like it was so weird because I was like, I've almost been gone for 2 years and I worked there for 2.5 years. Like
Yeah,
that's
you went
crazy.
ghost. You went ghost.
I did.
That's
I was
what's
like,
blowing up to me. You just that's what blows my mind. It's like you literally just left and you were like, that's it, that's it.
I
I'm
have to
going
go.
away.
I'm like, I
Nope.
literally don't know what I'm gonna fucking do, but I can't be here with like the masks anymore. Like this is truly like
No,
traumatizing me on
no, I
such a
feel
deep
you.
level.
I do have one more question for you before we end everything here. My last question.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned social media and how you're not really on it, right? So I just have a question. Have you ever no, listen, I think it's a good because I being a content creator and just using social media, one thing I've noticed with like artists is TikTok is a great way to like boost your like following,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
There's musicians on there who literally just go live in the evenings and sing songs for like people in
True.
their lives. And it doesn't necessarily have to be original songs, right? It could be covers, it could be whatever it may be, but that could potentially be, I guess this isn't a question, it's kind of a suggestion. But that could potentially be a way for you to build a following where it's like if you go live on Instagram every Friday, Saturday night at a certain time, and you just do like a little cover session sesh and or even
Yeah.
even sing some of your own songs where it's like, hey, this is one of my originals. And I think now that you've grown and developed into the artist you are today, you can put different spins on those old songs. And I think that's the thing is
That's
like
true.
I was in a weird space when I made them, but now I've grown and I can make them better. But I think it could be a way for you to you have over 1,000 followers, right?
On Instagram, yes. On TikTok, I don't know.
So like you have to have 1,000 followers on TikTok to go live, but it could be something where it's like you could see growth exponentially in your followers, your like downloads and streams. Like that's one way to promote your music. I don't know if you ever thought
Yeah.
about that.
I actually, it's funny you say all that because I have been thinking like recently, like Lindsay, you've got to, you know what? If another thing everyone takes from this podcast is like consistency. Like show up for yourself, show up for
Hmm.
your fucking followers, show up for if you're gonna if you're claiming to be this artist and you want to change lives and like fucking like rule the world, right? Like and be influential, like you have to show up because if you're not showing up, no one knows that you fucking exist. No one knows what you're doing. Like and I don't think it for me, it's not like a it's not even I'm scared of like being visible because obviously I've kind of just unloaded my entire life on this episode and I'm like, and who fucking gives a shit? Like, okay, you know, Max dumped me. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, moving on. Like, bye. You know, like again, I'm like, whatever. Like, cool, nice story, moving along. And it's not that I'm scared of being visible. It's just like that I'm emotionally so drained a lot, and especially with all this
Hmm.
traveling. But I did like yesterday. I thought I was like, I should go record a cover today and like post that. Like I really like miss like doing covers and like playing on my piano and like spending time with myself, creating music, and just having intentional time. So
Hmm.
I've been thinking about getting on TikTok or doing like Instagram lives and just being like, hey guys, like I know it's a Tuesday. What's up, everybody? Like today I'm gonna sing "Skinny Love" by whatever. You know, like, so I have been thinking about that more. And I honestly might, if I have, I will try to make some time today to prioritize doing some music for
I
myself
think
because, yeah, it's like,
this is this is the mindset you have to have with that, right? If you like you said, you if you schedule it out, you're fine. So like you could say every Friday, well, maybe Fridays don't work for you. But I'm just using Friday as an example. Every
right.
Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna go live on TikTok and just have like an hour, 2 hour session of just singing songs, interacting with people, because that's one way to connect with your fans, right? Because
Yeah.
on TikTok Live, you see their comments coming through and you see what the people are saying. And it's a way to kind of build a family. I don't like that's the one way to do it is like you're building a community, you're building a family, you're finding people to connect with. And that's how you do it, right? You have people share the lives so other people join and different things of that nature. And it's just something I know you could flourish at and something a lot of people
I
love,
know.
especially in the evenings because it's a kind of an intimate setting, right? You're in your zone, but you also get to connect with people live and you don't necessarily see them, you just see their reactions and things of that nature and you could make money.
I know, like literally, bro. I've been like Lindsay, like you, like could make content, like you're a photographer, bro. Like get it together. Like it's not that hard, man. Like just show up for yourself. And so there must be something subconsciously on like a level of like, well, if I continue not to show up, then I guess I'm not worthy. You know, like I can like
Yep.
keep telling myself these stories of like, well, I'll just never fucking make it because I never showed up, and then I can blame everyone else, but I didn't show up for me, and it's like, well, it's your own
We're our
fucking fault,
biggest
you know?
critics. We're
I
our
know.
biggest
Oh my God.
critics.
Do we have any
We are.
time for me to show you this song?
Go for it.
I don't know. I, I'm gonna. Can I play it off my laptop maybe and like see if
Maybe.
that works? I don't know. Is there like a thing like have you done this with anybody else where you're
Hmm?
like yeah like oh like well is there anything you've done with people before like oh like hey I wanted to show something on like I don't know if there's like the screen share or there's like a
I have
I
not.
don't
I've
know.
never tried that feature. So
Okay, well let's all just sit here and laugh together and we're gonna attempt because it's like so good and I don't know when the song's gonna come out because we're working on the production right now and getting that figured out but I
so we
guess it's
get
gonna
a live snippet of Lindsay
a live
Tatman's brand
well yeah
new
I'm not gonna sing
single.
it
What is
for
it
you.
called? What is it
It's called
called?
Shatter the Glass.
Shatter the Glass.
It do be slapping like it do be hitting. Okay, I'll
Okay.
literally just like play you like through the first chorus. It is fire though, I ain't gonna lie to you. So I guess it's kind of come through here and go to you, right? Through here.
We'll find out.
Okay, everybody, like let's rock. I don't know. Okay, hold
Let's
on.
find out. Let's find out together.
Oh my God, shut up! I'm dead. Okay, okay. Can you hear it?
A little, yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Gave you my life, it was all for enough. Even though you locked me up, never tried my best. So what the fuck? You say the sky's the limit. I tell you when I'm feeling. Don't want it, don't let it go. Don't worry, it's okay, your opinions don't matter. What you want to say, at the end of the rainbow, I know that I'm done here. I know your opinions don't matter. You must be what I shadow lies.
Okay, Tabin. The beat and you can just hear the difference from when you first started in 2021 to now. Like it's just completely crazy.
I know. Did
Girl,
it come across okay?
I heard bits and pieces. I feel like when it uploads, the audio would be a lot better. But like from
Oh, okay, chill.
what I could hear, uh, it's gonna be a bop. That's the
It do hit. It's good. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so you
it's
know, I've been kind of like behind the scenes, like doing the work on myself,
mhm.
kind of, and like doing the work on the music and learning. And so that's something that I wrote with my friend Lexi, who's in Vegas, who will be here for the show on the 15th. So if any of you end up coming, like you'll meet Reese and Lexi, you'll obviously meet Mariana's. But yeah, it's just like going down to like the contrast lyrics, like the visual, emotional time, like all
I
these
just
things
hit
I
the
didn't.
table. Sorry.
Oh, but all these things that like you don't think about unless like someone is teaching you. Like no one ever taught me how to write music, so it's been really a big blessing in my life
I'm
just
so
shifting so much.
excited for you. I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited to see where everything takes you. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to hop on and just talk again, because it's been nice. I feel like we haven't talked in forever either, so it's
Yeah.
always good to catch up with you. But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm gonna. Oh no, I totally messed up. I forgot to ask you if anyone wants to continue having a conversation with you about anything we talked about. How can they get a hold of you?
Oh dear. I know this last time I was like, oh, follow my Instagram and DM me. And hey, you know what? You can do that. Tatman _ Robin. That's my Instagram handle. I like am on Instagram, and I'm gonna try to be more present. And if I don't get back to you immediately, it's not like, I hope no one takes offense. Just like
Just blow her up.
just
I'm kidding.
send her 800 messages, and I'll be like, oh my god, I can literally can't even open this person's messages. I'm so overwhelmed by. I actually would love to, like, I kind of going back, like what you're saying, like go live. Like I would love to like do a set, like a thing like once a month where I'm like, I just get on and I'm like, hey everybody, like what's going on? Like how are you doing? Like just want to connect with my followers. Like why don't I have you come up and we'll talk, and like so
Do it.
maybe all of them start doing that stuff, and kind of like would like ideally love to start like a women's
Do
circle
it.
down the road and
Do it.
all that.
Don't just talk about it. Be about it.
I know. It's like, don't tell me what you're about, because then I'm gonna hold you accountable. And I'm like, so that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna hold you accountable. So
please do. And yeah, obviously I would say like I would say like email me, but like don't fucking email me, because I like don't fucking check my email. Like literally, if you really
Trust
need
me,
me,
I know, because I sent you a calendar invite and you didn't even accept it.
but like you texted me and I was like, yes, we are confirmed. Like but
I
yeah,
know. I'm just
but
giving
yeah,
you shit. I'm just giving you shit.
it's a tough time out here. Honestly, Instagram probably the best place that I'm like most consistently on. Like I have no notifications turned on for any of my apps. Like my phone's usually on do not disturb. I really am just like,
My
I'm not
phone is
trying
on
to be
do not
bothered.
disturb 90% of the time. So I tell people, like, if you really need to get a hold of me and it's something
Call me.
serious, yeah. And if it goes straight to voicemail, call back.
Right. Yeah, because it's on do not disturb, so you have to call twice.
Yeah. So now again, I
Yeah.
do appreciate you taking time out of your day and catching up with you. It's always great talking to you. I feel like I always smile when I talk to you. So
Oh, I'm so glad. Me too. This is so fun. I really appreciate you having me back. Like, I'm excited to hear what people, people get some good stuff from this. So hopefully, at the very least, they can hear about some of the drama, and now they know.
The
The
tea.
tea. We spilled the tea. That's what I did.
I do
So.
appreciate you. All love
I
over
love
here.
you.
I love you too. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to put all of Lindsay's information in the description below. If you all happen to reach out to her, please make sure you just notate on how you found her. It will be much appreciated. Also, make sure you give us a follow on all social media platforms. It's at Ignite Your Why. That's INGYTE, now with an I. We are on all platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and you name it, it's there. So make sure you give us a follow. Again, thank you all for tuning in. And always remember, find your purpose and ignite your why. Peace.
Okay, bye.